Hi everyone, it's Samir, part of the group of Titus, Carson, and I, and this is my uncle. I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
My name is Sebastian Campos. I'm a retired Sergeant First Class out of the 82nd Airborne Division, 1st Brigade, BCT. I was the property book officer. I was in for 20 years.
20 years. So could you quickly give a brief explanation of what war and where you fought your war?
Okay. So I went from, it's easy. It's if you take Panama and work your way all the way to Iraq, those are the wars that I went to, with the exception of anything on the African continent. So Bosnia, from Bosnia to Saudi Arabia, the Desert Storm, Desert Shield, uh, Afghanistan twice, and then Iraq. And we did a peacekeeping mission in Korea and some humanitarian missions in Florida.
Great. So quickly, I already explained to you over the book that we're reading. I want to kind of tie in the ideas of fiction being tied in with any stories that you would be telling to the general public. So, a quick question I have. So, what are some misconceptions of war that you've encountered throughout your life?
Misconceptions of war that I've encountered is like when you watch it on TV or any movie, it's like a full onslaught of head to head or hand to hand combat. You don't usually get that. Ours are usually calculated combat zones. We usually calculate where we're going, what we're going to hit, and so that's that. Those are some of the misconceptions.
Okay, great. So then, when you'd be telling these war stories that you would encounter, so were there any times that you would manipulate the story at all to imply a certain feeling towards the listener, or to just manipulate it in any way?
Oh man, we could twist some stories around really quick. We would add, we would just add a couple of adjectives in. Throw some extra lines in there, like if it was one grenade, it was 12 grenades. If it was one enemy, it was a whole battalion of them. So, I mean, we would just exaggerate that much just to make the story a little bit more interesting.
Got it. So I'm gonna reiterate this quote that I got from the book, and I want to get your feedback on it.
Okay?
If you don't care for obscenity, you don't care for the truth. If you don't care for the truth, watch how you vote. Send guys to war, they come home talking dirty. A true war is never moral. It does not instruct nor encourage virtue, nor suggest models of improper human behavior, nor restrain men from doing things they have always done. If a story seems moral, do not believe it. If at the end of a war story you feel uplifted, or you feel that some small bit of rectitude have been salvaged from the larger waste, then you have been made the victim of a very old and terrible lie.
Absolutely, that quote is spot on. The reason why is because if you actually think about what you send us to war to do, most of it is on TV is glorified as if we're doing some sort of moralistic thing. But if you actually boil it down to, we're actually legally killing other people. So legal and moral are two different words, and they have two different meanings to it. So then, if you're going to, there's nothing moral that we do in war. So I think that quote right there is spot on. And of course, if you think that you're uplifted by any war whatsoever, I think you're sadly mistaken on what actually war is about.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to ask these questions, and thank you for your service and everything you've done.
No problem.
Alrighty, thank you, sir.